ODWMMAC. This is your boy, the coach. You're live on the Coach Show, live. Okay, folks, so listen. I want to go ahead and I just want to talk to you guys. I just want to talk to y'all. I've never, ever been a person that have to always be right. Okay, I can come on here and I can tell you, hey, I got that wrong. Hey, I'm wrong. Okay, but I'll sit here and tell you, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you just what you want to hear so I can keep your subscriptions. And I think the people who follow me, that rock with me heavily, they appreciate the honesty, they appreciate all the honesty instead of, just trying to, just lie so people would just, stay around. I don't really do that, okay? But I'll tell y'all the truth. No, I'm not a fan of Loopy Godinez. I'm not a huge fan of hers. Actually, not a fan at all. Couple things happened between me, her, and her manager that I'm not going to put on this particular video. However, I can put aside my biasness. Okay, I can put that aside and tell you that Loopy had a perfect game plan for Jessica Andrade. Y'all want to know the game plan that Loopy had? Look at the screen. Here's the game plan. That's the game plan. For those of you MMA minds in the comment section, what is Loopy doing in this picture? What is Loopy doing in the picture? I'm going to give you, I'll say 5 seconds. Time's up. For those of you that thought correctly, this is a jab. Okay? This is Jessica Andrade's kryptonite. It's the jab. Okay? It's been Jessica's kryptonite for years. Well, somebody on Loopy team, they figured that out. Somebody on her team figured that out, and somebody gave Lupita Godinez, gave a game plan, and it worked. Loopy utilized her jab. Jessica Andrade did not utilize her jab the way she should have. Okay? To me, it's pretty much like the same Jessica Andrade that we've accustomed to seeing. Jessica had her moments in the fight where she rocked Loopy. Loopy was visibly hurt. However, Loopy just bit down on her mouthpiece and she kept sticking to the game plan. I didn't see Loopy get frazzled when she got hit. Okay? And Loopy, if she get online and tell y'all that them shots from Jessica Andrade didn't hurt, then, she telling a damn lie, okay? If Loopy get on here and say, she wasn't hurt at all by Jessica, she lying. Okay? Jessica rocked her a couple times, and the legs don't lie. I mean, y'all always hear when an MMA fighter, when a fighter get hit, period, the legs will tell you the truth. The legs will tell you if they got hurt or not. And that's just what that is. She was hurt a few times, but what Loopy did that was impressive is that she stuck to the game plan. She stuck to the game plan that her team produced for her because they knew that Jessica Andrade could not handle a jab. Okay? And when Jessica gets hit with a jab, she reacts. She's getting caught. And see, Loopy also had, very, very good counterpunching. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting Loopy to just go, balls to the wall and just start wrestling. Nah, she stood in front of Jessica and she did what I thought she wouldn't do. She stood right in front of Jessica. She jabbed and countered. That's how Loopy won this fight, jab and counter. Like, Jessica would throw one, Loopy would fire 3. Jessica would throw a right hand, Loopy would counter with a jab. Jessica would throw a jab, Loopy would counter with an overhand right. It was like Loopy pretty much already had the answers to the test before she even took the test. She already had the answers. Like she pretty much, it was almost like she knew exactly what Jessica was going to do. And, now my thought is this, why? We know that Jessica, she's always had the skill set. In my opinion, I always thought Jessica got the skill set to be a great fighter. Even at 33, I feel like Jessica got the talent to be a good fighter. I just think that Jessica lacked the skill. Or the skill is internally embedded within her. It's in her. But the problem with Jessica is that she lacks the tutelage. She lacks the MMA mind. She lacks that MMA brain that can help her become a complete fighter. That's what she lacks. Like, Jessica reminds me of, Chris Cyborg early in her career. The only thing is Chris Cyborg was winning. But she reminds me of Chris Cyborg, where Chris Cyborg would never use the other parts of MMA. Chris Cyborg would just go in there and beat you with a fist. That's what she did. Chris completely ignored every single solitary part of MMA that she got. She ignored that for years and years and years until she got knocked out by Amanda Nunes. Until Chris got knocked out. And I'm going to tell you something. Chris Cyborg being knocked out, to me, probably was one of the best things that could have happened to her career. Then y'all probably saying, Coach, why the hell? Why? Because I may not post a lot of Chris Cyborg content anymore, but I do respect the fact that she was willing to go out and reinvent herself. She was willing to go out and change the game plan. She knew that the slugfest wasn't going to work anymore. She knew it. And she knew that there were people in her division that could crack. You saw her use a variety of skill set versus Holly Holm. You saw her use a variety of skill set versus Felicia Spencer. You saw her do it, versus Pacheco, Larissa Pacheco. You saw Chris Cyborg utilize those skill sets against these different fighters. But see, it took Chris Cyborg to get knocked out. It took her to get knocked out. It took her to legit be knocked out for her to go in there. Or maybe she fought. Did she fight Holly Holm before Amanda? Well, it don't matter. But anyway, y'all know what I'm saying, okay? After Chris Cyborg fought Amanda, Chris Cyborg started going over to Africa. She started getting with, some of those Africans that are known for their wrestling prowess. Like, Chris started doing a lot of different things to improve her overall game of MMA. And I felt like Jessica hadn't had that aha moment. Like, oh, okay, I need to be doing some of these other things in the octagon. Because truth be told, Jessica Andrade, she's a good wrestler. Jessica Andrade has very good jiu-jitsu. But you don't ever get to see those parts of her game because Jessica don't use it. Jessica just, she'd be rather inclined just to beat you up with her fist. And I think if Jessica can become more well-rounded, or she is a well-rounded fighter, just use the parts of MMA that you don't see. Because clearly the striking piece isn't working. The one-hitter quitter, we know you got power, okay? But how do you set that power up? Because you can't just swing to the fences. And I felt like this is what Jessica was doing. And I felt like Loopy just had a very educated jab, and she was popping that jab, those straight right hands, that straight left hand. Loopy continued to do that throughout the fight, and Jessica was getting caught. Jessica got hit with way more shots than she should have gotten hit with against a wrestler. Loopy's a wrestler, okay? But Loopy, I can tell that Loopy is becoming more well-rounded. She's becoming more comfortable with the striking department of her fighting game. Loopy Godinez is doing that. That's just what it is. And it ain't me, sitting here like, oh, man. I'm just telling y'all, respectfully, that Jessica Andrade could have won this fight. She could have won this fight. Hell, she could have had Loopy out of there. Like, real talk, she could have had Loopy out of there. She got Loopy a couple times, but Jessica lacked the skill to close it. She don't have that skill to close that show. And Jessica got to do some things. Like, I would have loved to see Jessica Andrade throw some legs, some calf kicks. Like, I would have loved to see that. I would have loved to see Jessica Andrade attack the body. I would have loved to see Jessica Andrade just continue to pump the jab, double and triple jabs, and then set that overhand right up, that powerful overhand right she got. See, I would have loved to see some of that. I'd have loved to see it. Moreover, I would have loved to see Jessica Andrade just involve her kicking game into this whole deal. I'd have loved to see that. But we didn't get that. We just got Jessica Andrade throwing haymakers, throwing punches, keeping her head on center line. That's what we got. That's what we got. And it's frustrating because when you do see a fighter, who clearly, like Jessica Andrade was, I remember, I seen video of Jessica like running up on the wall, right? Literally, Jessica ran up on the wall, and while she was going, vertically up the wall, Jessica cuts a backflip off the wall. She athletic. Hell, Jessica played soccer, all kind of stuff when she was growing up, man. So the athleticism is there. Now she got to get with an MMA mind. She's got to get with one of those MMA brain trusts, man. She got to. She ain't gonna. The probability of her fighting Valentina again is probably low. It's probably low. Go get with Pavel. Actually go get with an MMA mindset. Hell, go train with Chris Cyborg. Hit up Chris Cyborg and say, yo, Chris, I need help. And Chris Cyborg work with anybody. Like, but I think there's a change that need to happen with Jessica Andrade. Like, something else. There's got to be something else besides what we've been seeing. There has to be something else. But there are MMA minds out there, man. Trevor Whitman. I mean, you got Trevor Whitman, Rose's old coach. Rose is no longer a strawweight. Rose is, I mean, so that could work. Like, folks, there are people. Budokan MMA. Tanisha Tennant coaches. They some of the best coaches on the damn planet. Okay? Sick Jitsu. Okay? Rick Little. Like, you got so many MMA minds out here. There's so many of them to keep doing this. I mean, I was pulling for Jessica because I don't like Loopy. Don't like her. Don't like her. But you don't like her because I don't like her. I got my reasons. I have my reasons why I don't like her, and it's just what it is. But even though I'm not a fan of Loopy, I can say Loopy had a game plan and it worked. And you can see that Loopy Gundinez is evolving as a fighter. I can see that. Even throughout when I don't care for her very much, but I can see that this woman been putting time in. Her striking is much improved. I mean, Loopy saw shots coming. Like, this version of Loopy Gundinez, she dangerous. This version of Loopy is a dangerous strawweight. She real dangerous. And when you put Loopy in there, you give Loopy some training camp. You give her time. Like, don't put her in no short notice fights. Loopy Gundinez could be a problem. She could be a problem. Now, if Loopy get that ass whooped, I'll be right here making a video, clowning her. Oh, yeah, before I end this. What's next for Jessica, y'all? What's next? What happens next? And you guys already know what I'm asking. What happens next to Jessica Andrade? Is this it in the UFC for Jessica? Is it it? You know, but I think if the UFC decided, hey, they want to part ways with Jessica, the PFL would immediately pick Jessica up. Because you got that whole Dakota Dickshiva, it's work to be done in the PFL for Jessica, if Jessica go over there. And I'm pretty sure they would compensate Jessica very well to be there, okay? So, MMA as a whole is not over for Jessica. But we don't know what the UFC gonna do, man. We don't know what they... I mean, we've seen the UFC, man, give somebody we thought didn't deserve a contract, give them 12 fights and getting their ass whooped. We've seen the UFC cut people who were actually winning. Like, literally winning. We've seen people go in there and fight for the belt in the UFC, and the UFC cut them the next day. Like, what the... You know, like, so we've seen the UFC, they're unpredictable. We just don't know. We just don't know what they're going to do, what Dana White's thinking, what Nick Maynard, Sean Shelby. We don't know what these... I'm sorry, PG-13 channel. We don't know what these dudes are thinking. We won't have a clue. But I hope this isn't the end of the Jessica era in the UFC. I hope this not it. I mean, I hope that she can go get and pick the brains of these MMA minds. I hope that she can go do it. Like, I hope that Jessica sits back and look and say, you know, I love my people. And one thing I like about Jessica, she rolled with her people. Okay, if you was tight with Jessica as a kid, you still tight with Jessica now. If Jessica says she gonna do something for you, she gonna do something for you. But I want the people around Jessica to do something for Jessica and tell her the truth. Tell her, look, let's go get with these MMA minds. Please, let's go get with these MMA masters. Let's get with these MMA masters. Let's get with these people, because these people can help you reach another evolution of your training.